morning. Welcome to the Corner of Knit and Tea, episode 145. I'm Laura, also known as Fluffy K on Ravelry, Fluffy Kira on Instagram and Twitter. I blog over at thecornerofknitandtea.com, and that's where this episode and every episode's show notes will be. I sell my hand-spun yarns in my Etsy shop, which is also called The Corner of Knit and Tea. And we have a Ravelry group called The Corner of Knit and Tea. And if you haven't come over and joined us, please do. We have some fun knit-alongs and spin-alongs and just some fun chatter, and I would love it if you joined us. So welcome. It is Sunday, July 16th. It is a steamy day outside. It's in the 90s and super humid. We were out exercising and doing things yesterday, and today I am hoping to spend most of the day crafting around the house. It has been a pretty good week. I feel like I didn't get a lot of crafting done this week, and I know that I crafted a lot, but I don't know, I just feel like I didn't make that much progress. So this will probably be a fairly short podcast because I don't have a ton to show you. But that is sort of what's going on this past week. This coming week will sort of be a short week. We are going to a family reunion next weekend. So I will be cutting my tour de fleece a little bit short because we will be going out of town for the family reunion. We leave on Friday. And it also means that I'm not exactly sure when I will podcast next weekend. I believe we will be getting home Sunday afternoon, so hopefully I will get something up then. But if it's not up till Monday or Tuesday, that is why. So I hope that you have had a wonderful week. Let's hop into it here. Today I am drinking a selection from Tea Runners. Tea Runners is a club put together by Jewel State and her husband. They are Canadian, and you may remember Jewel State. She was Kaylee on Firefly. But she and her husband have put together a tea club. It is $25 a month, and you receive 4 tea selections each month that they have selected from all their tea testing. This was from a couple months ago. It is a Kenyan black tea from Ajiri Tea, which is located in Pennsylvania, and the origin is Western Kenya. So this is a strong black tea. Let's see if I can get that to you without too much shine. And I'm drinking that today in a mug that I got from Tivana with its little gold sparkles dots, and so it is just a plain black tea. I brewed that with just a little bit of sugar because I like mine just a smidge sweet, and I expect that it will be quite good. That is delicious. I always say that I prefer oolongs because they're a little bit mellower than black tea. I find that they're like smooth and a little bit smoky, and I just really like oolongs, but there's nothing like a good black tea. So this is a good plain black tea. Sorry, the mug's a little bit hot. Good plain black tea. Like I said, that's from Ajiri Tea, Ajiri, and I will put a link in the show notes if it is possible to purchase. Some of the teas included in the selections, it is not possible to purchase individually. They were like a special harvest that they put together for the club, but sometimes you can purchase them. So I will definitely put that one in the show notes. And as I'm looking at my desk over there, I have a couple boxes to review in the coming weeks. I have the last 2 sets of selections. I guess I'm running a little slowly on that. But I'll open those and photograph those this afternoon and hopefully get them to work and start taste testing. So let's get into the knits. The one knit that I finished this week, and it is gone because I gave it to my friend, is, as I told you, we were doing preemie hats for a baby named Calvin, and I showed you last week that I was going to do a little tiger hat. And I did finish the tiger hat. It came out super cute. It's just a basic little hat, and then I used a tutorial for ears. I will put in the show notes what pattern I used for that tutorial, but I kind of made it up as I was going along as well. But that hat is, I don't know if it's off to Calvin yet because another member of our group is doing a crochet amigurumi hobs. So those two will go together when they go, but I wanted to give that to my friend who's coordinating the packages. So so that was knit number 1. Knit number 2 is that I did go ahead and cast on the second sock. I showed you the fanciful sock last week. It was stripy, but I only got the cuff and the first pink stripe, so I didn't bring that to show you because it's really not very interesting looking. So the knit that I actually worked on the most this week, and I worked on it the most this week, but I didn't really get that far because I was mostly spinning, is Roxy's sweater. And the first thing that I did is I finished the body. Remember, this is a bottom-up yoked cardigan, and the really interesting stuff is in the yoke, so it doesn't look like much yet. But I did the body up to the armpits, so I have my my requisite inches there, and then I set that aside, so that is the body up to the armpits, and then the sleeves will be joined. And yesterday I finally sat down to start the sleeve. I was supposed to start the sleeve earlier this week, and for whatever reason I was busy knitting the hat. There were other things going on. So I started the sleeve. It looks almost exactly like the body other than the increases, and I didn't realize that the sleeves are supposed to be knit flat, so which I guess makes sense to me because then you're going to join them. But okay, so I'm knitting the sleeve flat. I still have a couple more inches until this one is done, and then I need to do a second one. And then comes the really interesting part, which is the yoke, and it will have more of this this fun striping detailing and playing with some stockinette and garter in terms of how the stitches look. So again, still just plugging away on this one. Not making a ton of progress, but keep reminding myself that I never make a ton of progress on July Loopy Project while the tour is going on, and then I sort of crank on it in the last week of the month. And I will be taking this on to the reunion with me, and it's like a 6-hour drive each way, so I expect that I will get lots and lots done in the car. And so actually, if I can crank out the sleeves this week, then I can do the yoke and the button bands and pretty much finish everything next weekend, and I would still be ahead of my deadline. So yes, so little sleeves and little sweater, and it is coming along, not as fast as I would like. But yeah. So, and then the one other thing I am hoping to complete this week / next weekend while I'm traveling is I have a new review yarn. And this is called Shepherd's Lamb. It is a certified organic Rambouillet, 100% fine wool from the mountains of northern New Mexico. This comes from a ranch in New Mexico that they said I think is about 100 miles outside of Santa Fe at the base of the San Juan Mountains. And the ranch has been in the family for a really long time. I cannot remember if it's like 100 years, but it's been a long time. And I was reading information on the ranch this morning, and they started with 30 ewes that they used both for fiber, and they also use for organic meat. And at this point, they're up to 1,000 ewes, so lots of stuff. And what they do is they raise, at least in part, Rambouillet, and they send it out, I believe they send it out to be spun and milled, but then they dye it with natural dyes. And so I was asked if I wanted a skein, and I eagerly said yes, and they asked me roughly what color I wanted. They do all their natural dyeing in small batches, so it's hard to recreate the skeins, so you need to order what you want when you want it. But this is a skein of their organic 2-ply DK weight. It is 180 yards, suggested gauge, 6 stitches to the inch on US size 6, and this was dyed with indigo. And I thought this would make a nice hat. I have picked out a nice cabled pattern. I'm hoping that the structure of the yarn will lend itself well to cables, and I plan to knit that this week and hopefully show that to you next weekend. So that is up for review, and also what's going to be on my needles in the next couple weeks. And then I will write a full review of this and some links to the website and whatnot. So that's just a little something exciting to try, and that was through Stitchcraft Marketing and Shepherd's Lamb. So let's talk about spinning. I have been spinning like crazy. I showed you a bobbin last week that I needed to ply of Hello Yarn it was Polworth mohair and silk in the colorway Mean Streak, and that was teals and browns. And I did finish that, and I will show you that because I don't have it anymore. It is already winging its way to its new home. So that is kind of exciting. But here is what it finished looking like. So it came out super, super pretty, and you can see more details on my project page on Ravelry and also on my Instagram. So then I decided to start in on a package of bats that I showed you before. I had blended, it was a sampler pack of blues that I had gotten from the art club, which is the Harveyville project out at Yarn School. I had gotten it several years ago. It was 8 ounces, an ounce each of all different colors of blues on different kinds of wool, merino, Romney, Corriedale. And what I had actually done after I sort of copied a friend who did it is I took all of those and I divided them up, and then I ran them through the carder so that I had these beautiful blue bats. So I had 8 ounces of blue bats to spin, and if you followed my Instagram, you saw my progress on them, and I finished plying them last night. It took me I basically did 2 ounces a night, so it took me Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday to finish spinning the singles, and then yesterday I plied the whole shebang, and I have a very, very full bobbin that I have not wound off from yet. It is all kinds of blues, from a sort of really light periwinkle blue all the way through to a super dark blue, and lots of teal in there, which is what it shows up as, and of course it's matching my Acreworks bobbin, so it's really hard to get the colors accurate on this, especially on the camera, but it is beautiful. It is probably a DK'd worsted weight. In spots it is a little overspun. I'm hoping that will resolve itself a little bit when I wash it. And this is probably destined for the shop. If it spun up nicely enough, I'll have to see what it looks like as soon as I am done washing it. But that is 8 ounces of blues, and that is what I spun this week. Which brings me to what I'm going to start spinning now. To be honest, this will probably be my last spin of the tour because, like I said, I've been doing 2 ounces a day. So that says to me, today and tomorrow I'll spin the singles. I'll ply on Tuesday. Wednesday is knit night, so I'm not usually home and I don't usually spin then. And then Thursday I'll need to be packing and whatnot, so I won't have time to finish another skein for the tour. So this is probably the last one. And if you'll pardon me while I crinkle, because I forget what material it is Falkland. It is from February 2017, Hello Yarn, and it is called Like Berries on a Bush. And it reminds me of summer stone fruits. It is like plums and magentas and oranges and reds. So like plums and nectarines and all kinds of beautiful, beautiful colors. And then there's a little bit of light, kind of a little bit of yellow, peachy, orange, and there's little bits of blue in here, like almost like a blue-black plum. I am really, really excited for this one, and Falkland is one of my favorite wools to spin. So this will probably be my final spin of the tour. That will bring me up to 1.5 pounds, which is a little bit less than I have done in the past, but I am okay with that. Given that I'm gonna have to miss some of the tour, I probably would have gotten another 4 to 8 ounces done if I were going to be home this coming weekend, but you know, it is what it is. So, and it's still 1.5 pounds, and actually what I think I'm going to do when I finish this one is I'm going to go pull out those last 4 ounces of the Corriedale Cross to finish up my spin for my hap shawl, and that wouldn't have all so I have 4 ounces that are already spun into singles on a bobbin waiting to be plied. And then I have 4 ounces that need to be spun into singles, so then I can ply that 8 ounce chunk together. And I only would have given myself half credit for that during the tour anyway. But hopefully I'll finish that up. I might spin that a little bit on Thursday and then finish that up when I get home. And that right there will be over 2 pounds for the month. So I'm okay with that. And then I might walk away from my wheel for a week or two and just take a break, since I will have spun a ton in just a couple weeks, and then we'll get back to it. So I think that is all I have for you today. I know it was kind of a short podcast. If you are spinning for the Tour de Fleece, we do have a Corner of Knit and Tea team. You probably already know about that. But if you have not found out about that, you can still come and join us. All you have to do is be a member of the group and post in the thread. I am doing random number generator prize draws each Friday for winners from the chat thread, and then there will be a final thread to post a picture of everything you spun during the tour, and each person will get one entry for that, and then I will go ahead and do a random number prize draw, random number generator prize draw for that. So that is the along that's going on in the group now, and I haven't decided if I'm going to start another one before we get to November for the gift along. We've still got several months. Of course, it will fly by super fast. So I hope you had a wonderful week. Thanks for joining me today, even if it was a little bit shorter. And I wish you lots of crafty goodness in the week coming up. And I will say happy knitting, happy spinning, happy sipping, and I'll see you next time. Bye.